This is the AB4WS radio show. Every week, bringing you the exciting amateur radio news and information happening in the greater Cincinnati, Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana areas.
The AB4WS radio show can be found on the Apple Podcast app or your favorite podcast application. And now also available on the AB4WS radio show YouTube channel. At the Northern Kentucky Amateur Radio Club meeting, Sean Grubb, KE8BBC, gave a great presentation on scouting and ham radio, and the many links between the two through the years, starting with both being founded at around the same time. He is spearheading a movement forming the Dan Beard Council Radio Scouting Committee with the goal of connecting scouts to amateur radio through STEM activities and interests. He is actively recruiting volunteers for the program, so if you are interested, go to tinyurl.com/37PDCFNF, or you can email Sean at ke8bbc@arrl.net. Last weekend in January 24th and 25th is Winter Field Day, and the Okayan Amateur Radio Society will be setting up at the Harvest Home Park in Cheviot. To sign up for this event, go to grasshoppegrup.com/s/WTFYTP. The Queen City Emergency Net will be setting up for Winter Field Day indoors at the American Red Cross Building, 2111 Dana Avenue in Cincinnati, Ohio. Both Okayan and QCEN have opened their doors for Winter Field Day to the Dan Beard Council Scouting Committee, which will be hosting scouts to get them on the air at certain times during Winter Field Day as well. The Lake Cumberland Amateur Radio Association will be holding Winter Field Day at the Bluegrass Veterans Ranch, 2845 Pine Hill Road in Somerset, Kentucky, using the MCON trailer, and they have access to a barn for food and getting warm. They will be using the club call of N4LCA running Class 2M in Kentucky. Listen out for them. With great sadness, we have learned that W4MO Stuart Haig has become a silent key on January 11, 2026, at the age of 94. I first met Stu on the air many years ago when I first got involved in DMR amateur radio. Stu was one of the early adopters, bringing the DMR technology to amateur radio, and put up a DMR repeater in the Venice, Florida area. Stu was quite the character, and I always enjoyed the conversations Stu had with Art, W4TOY, and Roger, KY4RS, on DMR. Almost daily back in the day, and I had the pleasure of many QSOs with him as well on DMR. Stu was first licensed in August 29, 1947, and was from Louisville, Kentucky area, ultimately years later relocating in Venice, Florida. Stu worked for 44 years for South Central Bell, later AT&T, as a radio telephone technician, and had a side business of repairing TVs, which led to establishing a successful two-way radio business. Stu was constantly helping others, providing amateur radio phone connection for missionaries in other parts of the world, maintaining the operating amateur radio repeaters, oftentimes donating electronic radios and computers to those in need and other organizations. He also assisted in repairing computers. He was active in the Boy Scouts, church youth group, Naval Reserves, besides ham radio. I fondly remember the sound of Stu's distinctive voice, and he was a big loss to the amateur radio community and society as well. Interested in APRS or packet radio and looking for a simple, inexpensive TNC? Well, Nigel, NA6D, known for his AIOC adapter, is developing what he calls the Open TNC, with USB-C connectivity, open and hackable firmware, which he is hoping to bring to the masses in the spring or early summer for around $100. Go to n6ad.com for more information. The ARRL is kicking off America 250 Worked All States operating event in 2026, and the Kentucky section is planning their participation. Each section will have two opportunities to operate W1AW with their call sign district. Kentucky will operate W1AW/4 March 18th through March 24th, and again September 9th through September 15th. The event is centered around each affiliated club, and each of the 44 affiliated clubs in Kentucky is encouraged to start working on what they can do in the event and communicate with the Kentucky affiliated club coordinator, Steve Morgan, W4NHO, at W4NHO@ARRL.net. For more information on this event, go to ARRL.org/America250-WAS. On January 26th, the amateur radio emergency team of Northern Kentucky, KY6ET, will be meeting at the Bethesda Community Church, 989 East Mount Zion Road in Independence, Kentucky. The business meeting will be at 5:30 p.m., where lots of discussions and decisions will be made. And then a training session at 7 p.m., where Rick, KD4PYR, will talk all about radio and severe weather. The meetings are open to anyone interested in amateur radio emergency communication. On January 31st at 9 a.m., the Kentucky Section Emergency Coordinator, Dennis, W2QN, will be hosting a mini-Aries conference at the Shelby County Fire Station No. 1, 200 Alpine Road in Shelbyville, Kentucky. The invitation is open to anyone interested in emergency communication in the Commonwealth. The hope is to work toward rebuilding Aries into an effective group in Kentucky. If you have questions or for more information, reach out to Dennis, W2QN, at DennisLutz2@AOL.com.
Repeater news.
Are you looking for the most up-to-date list of repeaters in the greater Cincinnati area? Well, I have an Excel spreadsheet where I've listed repeaters that are active in the area, separated by tabs for each band or mode, so you can easily look for just DMR repeaters or 2-meter analog repeaters and so on. The list includes 2 meters, 220, 440, 6 meters, D-Star, DMR, C4FM, P25, and some other classifications. Every time I update the file, I include the date and the file name so that you know you have the latest update. To download the file, go to the AB4WS Radio Show Facebook page and go to the file section and download the file. If you're not on Facebook, email me at ab4ws.radio@gmail.com and I can email you the latest file. If you see any errors, problems, additions, or corrections, email that information to ab4ws.radio@gmail.com. The Lake Cumberland Amateur Radio Association has completed work to link both of the repeater sites together via All-Star. Thanks to the work of Don, Wanda, Ron, and Mike.
Hamfest.
January 31st, 2026 is the Struthers Roar, a midwinter hamfest at the St. Nick's Hall, 764 5th Street in Struthers, Ohio. March 7th is the Cave City Hamfest, 502 Mammoth Cave Street in Cave City, Kentucky. Talk in on the 14694 repeater with a PL tone of 114.8. March 8th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. is the Northern Ohio Amateur Radio Society Winter Hamfest at the Lorain County Community College, College Center, Commons area, 1005 North Abbey Road in Elyria, Ohio. For more information, go to noars.net/hamfest/winter-hamfest. March 15th from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. is the Toledo Mobile Radio Association Hamfest at the Owens County Community College Student Health and Activity Center, 7315 Championship Drive in Perrysburg, Ohio. For more information, go to w8hhf.org/hamfest.
Are you looking to upgrade your license? Do you have someone else that's interested in the hobby? Here are some upcoming exam opportunities.
The Milford Amateur Radio Club holds amateur radio testing on the third Thursday of each month at 6 p.m. at the Miami Township Civic Center, 6101 Meyer Drive in Milford, Ohio. Please pre-register at milfordhamradio.org. The Dayton Amateur Radio Association has exams frequently. For their exam schedule, email exams.w8bi@gmail.com. The Cuyahoga Falls Amateur Radio Club will sponsor an amateur radio exam session on January 17th from 10 a.m. at the Cuyahoga Falls Public Library, 2025 2nd Street in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. You must pre-register by emailing education@cfarc.org or call 330-929-8921. On January 24th at 10 a.m., there'll be an amateur radio exam session at the American Legion, Post 46, 45 Spears Lane in Danville, Kentucky. Please pre-register at hamstudy.org/session/WX4GPS-A. On January 27th, the Anderson County Amateur Radio Club, KY4LAW, will host an amateur radio testing session at 6 p.m. local time at the Anderson County Health Department, 1180 Glensboro Road in Lawrenceburg, Kentucky. March 7th, there'll be a testing session at the Cave City Hamfest, 502 Mammoth Cave Street in Cave City, Kentucky at 9 a.m. Central Time. For more information, email Chappie, KD4SS@KD4SS@ARRL.net. Special thanks to this week's content contributors: AC4HI, KD9EYU, WB8VNH, KY4GW, WB8YYS, KD8ZLD, K9HIO, N8LAR, K4NKU.
If you have something you think other amateur radio operators in the area would be interested in, send the information or your recorded audio file attached in an email to ab4ws.radio@gmail.com.
Covering your amateur radio news and information in the greater Cincinnati, Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana tri-state area. This is Jack Prindle, AB4WS in Big Bone, Kentucky.